American Gladiators is an American competition television program that aired weekly in syndication from September 1989 to May 1996. The series matched a cast of amateur athletes against each other, as well as against the show's own gladiators, in contests of strength and agility. The concept was created by Dan Carr and John C. Ferraro, who held the original competition at Erie Tech High School in Erie, Pennsylvania. They sold the show to the Samuel Goldwyn Company, where the concept was enhanced and became American Gladiators. An effort in 2004 to launch a live American Gladiators show on the Las Vegas Strip became mired in a securities fraud prosecution. However, the television series was restarted in 2008. Episodes from the original series were played on ESPN Classic from 2007 to 2009. Several episodes are available for download on Apple's iTunes service. Competition: American Gladiators featured 4 competitors, 2 men and 2 women, in most episodes. The players went through a series of 7 physical challenges with the goal to eventually become the season's overall winner, referred to as the Grand Champion. This was determined by a season-long tournament. In the first 2 seasons, 2 tournaments were held in each season. 20 contenders in each half-season tournament were chosen from a nationwide contestant pool based on tests of strength and agility, with several alternates chosen in case a contender could not continue due to injury. 5 preliminary round matchups were played, with the winners automatically advancing to the quarter-final round, along with the 3 highest-scoring losers. Any alternates from that point on came from the previous round's losers. Once the quarter-finals began, the tournament became a single-elimination affair, with the 8 remaining competitors vying to earn a berth in the Grand Championship and $10,000 in cash. The winners of the first tournament of the season would face the winners of the second, with an additional cash prize and a car at stake for the winner. In seasons 3 and 4, the field competitors increased to 48 and the tournament format was adjusted. 6 preliminary round matches were played and the winners of those matches automatically advanced to the quarterfinals. The winners of the 3 quarter-final matches advanced to the semi-finals, along with the highest-scoring non-winner. The semi-finals and finals went on as before, with the winners of the half-season tournaments meeting in the Grand Championship. For Season 5, the tournament format was revamped again. 8 competitors on each side played 4 preliminary round matches, and following that each of the 8 was seeded based on their performance. From there, the tournaments were conducted in single-elimination format, thus eliminating the need for wildcards. In Seasons 6 and 7, a single tournament was spread out over the season and a rule in place on the British Gladiators was adopted. This time contenders were not only competing to win, with $2,500 given to all preliminary winners regardless, but to have the highest overall winning score as well. Once all the preliminary rounds were completed, the 4 highest-scoring winners advanced to the semi-final round, with the winners playing for $25,000 in the Grand Championship. During the first half of the first season, the show's set resembled that of an ancient Roman gladiatorial arena, with the stands raised high above the ground. For the second half, the show's set was changed into a modern indoor sports arena style. An on-screen clock was added in the second half of the season, which allowed viewers to see how much time a contender had left to complete an event. The hooded figures that officiated the games were replaced by veteran NFL referee Bob Maselli. Starting in Season 2, former Pacific 10 football referee Larry Thompson became the referee. After being based at Universal Studios Hollywood for the first 2 seasons, production moved to the CBS Studio Center, into a studio referred to as Gladiator Arena. Other aesthetic changes were made as the series progressed. Events. In each episode, the contenders competed in a series of events. 6 to 8 events were played per show, varying from season to season. Most of the events tested the contenders' physical abilities against the superior size and strength of the gladiators, who were mostly pro or amateur bodybuilders and former football players. In most events, the contenders were not directly pitted against each other, but against the gladiators. In each event, the contenders earned points based on their performance. In the first half of Season 1, the points in each event were given in minimum 5-point increments, with 100 points usually the maximum in every event. After the first half of the first season, single-point increments were used. Events with a clear winner typically earned the contender 10 points for a win, 5 points for a draw, and no points for a loss. Events without a clear winner and loser earned the contender points for each success. Starting with the fourth season, the final event before the Eliminator, was labeled Crunch Time, and was played for more points. Season 6 used a format in which events were referred to as rounds, because more than one game was played per round. 3 games per show were played by both males and females and 3 were split between the males and females, 2 in one round. In split rounds, the men went first, then the women. Including the Eliminator, 10 events appeared in each episode, and the lineup of single and split rounds changed during the season. The sole exception to this format was in the semi-finals and Grand Championship. Each round was a single event. There were 4 lineups used during the season. The Eliminator was the final event played in each episode, and determined which contender would win that day's competition. The contenders competed side by side to complete a large obstacle course as quickly as they could. In the first 2 seasons, the Eliminator had a time limit, and both contenders started the course at the same time. Contenders scored points for every second left on the clock when they finished the course. The contender with the highest final score won the day's competition. Beginning in Season 3, the contender in the lead was given a head start with each point they led by worth a half second. The first contender to cross the finish line won. Of the events that debuted in the show's first season, only 6 lasted the entire original run on American television: Breakthrough and Conquer, The Wall, Joust, Assault, Powerball, and The Eliminator, although The Wall did not debut until the second half of the first season. Production. Segments. Throughout the series, American Gladiators had several regular segments that were not related to the competition of the day. These segments were used to allow the audience to get to know the gladiators or to highlight some of the best moments of past competitions. Gladiator Moments. Gladiators reflect and talk about their favorite moments of the first 2 seasons of American Gladiators. Ask a Gladiator. Fans write to their favorite American Gladiator asking them questions. Xonkers Zonks. Brief array of clips featuring the funniest moments of the show, which includes mostly hits, tackles, and tumbles of the contenders in Gladiators. 30 seconds with Gladiators are asked a number of fill-in-the-blank questions. In the final season the questions were taken away and it was just the gladiators talking about a random topic. Production notes. The show was taped at Universal Studios Hollywood until 1991, then moved to Gladiator Arena for the rest of its initial run. The National Indoor Arena, home to the UK version, hosted the International Gladiators competitions. The series, a co-production of Trans World International and 4 Point Entertainment, was distributed by Samuel Goldwyn Television. The first 13 episodes were recorded in a 12-day period, from July 24 to August 4 of 1989. Prizes. During the first half of Season 1, the intention was to reward the winners by promoting them to the role of American Gladiators, but that reward was never implemented and was abandoned after the first half of the first season. The show awarded cash prizes depending on how far the contenders advanced. For the first 5 seasons, $10,000 cash was awarded for winning the half-season finals. Runners-up in these finals were guaranteed $5,000. Contenders that lost in the semi-final rounds were guaranteed $2,500 for advancing that far. Grand champions received $15,000 more, while the runners-up won $10,000 more. In the first 4 seasons a new Chevrolet Blazer or a new Suzuki Sidekick was awarded to the grand champion, and the runner-up received a Club Med vacation. The runner-up prize was eliminated in the 5th season. To coincide with a change in tournament structure in Season 6, contenders won $2,500 for winning matches in the preliminary rounds and semi-final rounds. $25,000 was given for winning the Grand Championship in Season 6, while $20,000 and a guaranteed berth in International Gladiators 2 was given for the 7th season. Hosts and other personalities. Joe Theismann and Mike Adams co-hosted American Gladiators during the first half of the first season, with Theismann presiding over the proceedings and Adams serving more of an analyst's role. After Theismann left the series, Adams became the lead commentator and remained in that role for the remainder of the series. Todd Christensen initially was Adams' replacement as analyst, with Larry Csonka joining the series at the beginning of Season 2 in 1990. Csonka was replaced by Lisa Malasky following the fourth season, and she held the analyst position for Seasons 5 and 6. Danny Lee Clark, who spent the first 3 seasons and most of Season 6 on the show as Gladiator Nitro, became co-host for the final season and was credited on air as Dan Nitro Clark. Adams also hosted both seasons of International Gladiators and was joined by John Fashanu in Season 1 and Ulrika Johnson and Kimberly Joseph in Season 2. A referee wearing an executioner costume appeared during the first season. Then NFL referee Bob Maselli became the referee for the second half of Season 1. Larry Thompson took over for Season 2 in 1990 and remained until the series ended in 1996. The referees were assisted by several game judges, including Bob Wusetich, Frederick Gallagher and Jim Martian. Theismann also was the announcer of the first season and was replaced by John Harlan in 1990, who remained with the show through the 1992–1993 season. There was no announcer after that. Special shows. As had various other game shows in the past, American Gladiators had a series of special-themed episodes over its run. These began in Season 2, and featured celebrities playing for charity as well as former professional athletes and former contenders returning to compete again. Alumni shows. There were 3 alumni shows conducted during the course of American Gladiators. The first came in Season 2, the second in Season 6, and the third and last in Season 7. In the Season 2 alumni show, first season contenders Lucian Anderson, Terry Moore, Cheryl Ann Silich, and Amy Ross returned to compete against each other. Anderson and Silich emerged victorious. In Season 6, AG decided to hold another alumni show. Season 3 Grand Champions Mark Ortega and Kathy Mollica, Season 4 Grand Champions Cliff Miller and Cheryl Wilson, and Season 5 Grand Champions Wesley Berry and Peggy Auditor did battle in 2 separate elimination matches where the 2 highest scoring contenders at the end of the events ran the eliminator to determine the winner. Berry and Auditor won their matches and returned for the Season 7 alumni show, which pitted the 2 of them against Season 6's champions Kyla Storm and Adrienne Sullivan. Once again, the Season 5 champions emerged victorious. During Season 7, as part of a duel special which featured identical twin martial artists competing against each other, 2 former female gladiators competed against each other with Ray Hollett, who portrayed Zapp for much of the show's run, facing Shannon Hall, a Season 6 alternate gladiator who was named Dallas. Pro Football Challenge of Champions. In Seasons 3 and 4, American Gladiators included a show in which current and former NFL players competed against each other in an elimination-style format. The first competition featured NFL players from the 1970s and early 1980s, while the second had a mix of players that were active or had recently retired. The NFL players competed head-to-head with the male gladiators, while the female gladiators faced them in non-contact events like Assault and the Eliminator. 6 former players competed in 6 events, with 2 eliminated after the first 2 and 2 in the event preceding the Eliminator. The winner of both competitions was former NFL running back Charles White, who was also the only person to compete in both episodes. He erased a deficit in the Eliminator both times to win. Gold Medal Challenge of Champions. In Seasons 5 and 6, Gold Medal Challenge shows were produced, featuring former Olympic gold medalists. In the 1993 gold medal show, the males featured were 1984 gold downhill skiing medalist Bill Johnson, 1988 bronze basketball medalist Annie Manning, and 1984 gold boxing medalist Tyrell Biggs. The females featured were 1976 silver basketball medalist Nancy Lieberman, 1,984 silver and gold and 1,988 gold track and field medalist Alice Brown, and 1,992 gold and silver speed skating medalist Kathy Turner. Alice Brown and Bill Johnson won the competition and $10,000. For the 1994 show, the men were 1,988 gold and 1992 bronze volleyball player Bob Ctvrtlik and 1,988 gold gymnast Mitch Gaylord. The women were 1,994 silver and 1,998 gold downhill skier Pick Abo Street and 1988 bronze figure skater Debbie Thomas. Street and Gaylord were victorious. International Challenge of Champions a precursor to International Gladiators, this tournament aired in Seasons 4 and 5 and featured contestants from all over the world. Among the contenders in Season 4 was eventual Season 5 champion Peggy Odita, who was representing Nigeria and who won the women's competition. International Gladiators more information, International Gladiators 1, International Gladiators 2. International Gladiators was a special championship series consisting of previous champions from various versions of the show from around the world. The initial series included contenders and gladiators from the USA, UK, Finland, and Russia. The second series had contenders and gladiators from the USA, UK, Russia, South Africa, Germany and Australia. Both series were filmed at National Indoor Arena in Birmingham, UK, which was where the British Gladiators series was taped. In the first series American Gladiators was represented by Season 5 men's champion Wesley Berry, Season 5 women's runner-up Kim Tyler, Season 6 men's champion Kyla Storm, and Season 6 women's champion Adrienne Sullivan. Berry and Tyler advanced to the finals of the series, and Berry was the overall men's champion. Sullivan and Storm were eliminated in the series semi-finals. Sullivan fell to Eunice Huffhart, who beat Tyler in the finals, and Storm was beaten by Paul Field. In the second series, which served as the final episodes of the American Gladiators series, Season 7 men's champion Pat Sismazia and Season 5 women's champion Peggy Odita were the American representatives, and both of them emerged as champions by defeating the Australian representatives in the finals. Armed Forces Challenge of Champions in Seasons 5 and 6, contenders from each of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines faced off against each other, with the two highest scoring branches facing off in the Eliminator. The Marines won both competitions. Captain Mills Bleemeyer, an American Gladiators alumnus, was later involved with the capture of Saddam Hussein's nephew. NYPD vs LAPD in Season 6, a competition was held between officers of the New York Police Department and the Los Angeles Police Department. One of the female officers, the LAPD's Angeles Shepard, was a Season 3 contender who participated in the preliminary round during the second half of the season and was injured during her eliminator run. USC vs Notre Dame in Season 6, this contest pitted two USC alumni former football players Anthony Davis and Charles White against two Notre Dame alumni. USC prevailed in this competition, marking the third time White won on American Gladiators. International broadcasts, American Gladiators was broadcast in the UK by ITV as part of their night-time slot. In 1992, ITV debuted their own version called Gladiators and in doing so became the first country to adapt American Gladiators. Other ventures. Ties to professional wrestling. Like professional wrestling, American Gladiators is considered a form of sports entertainment, although the outcomes of events in the show are not predetermined, unlike pro wrestling matches. There have been several crossovers between the show and wrestling itself. One of the strongest ties is Hulk Hogan serving as a co-host of the 2008 revival. The Season 2 men's runner-up, first-half champion Rico Constantino, went on to become well known as a wrestler in WWE, under the name of Rico. Rico retired from the wrestling business after being released by the WWE in 2004 and is currently a Las Vegas police officer, which was also his job during his American Gladiators stint. Tony Harm, known in the then WWF as Ludwig Borger, was a gladiator on the Finnish version. Matt Morgan, who wrestled for a time in the WWE and Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, debuted during Season 2 of the 2008 revival as a gladiator under the name Beast. In 2008, longtime American Gladiators co-host Mike Adamle himself joined WWE as a backstage interviewer for the Raw brand before changing careers to perform play-by-play for ECW on Sci-Fi 3 months later. He then returned to Raw as the general manager, but he later resigned. Prior to that, after the original series ended and while working with NBC Sports, Adamle indirectly worked with the WWE doing commentary for the XFL. International versions. The American Gladiators format gained popularity all over the world. Several other countries created spin-offs based on the American Gladiators concept, including Finland, the UK, Australia, Germany, South Africa, Lebanon and more. American Gladiators was also translated and rebroadcast in Latin America under the name Gladiadores Americanos. It was also shown in Japan as Gakitatsu American Kinniku Battle. Japan also had a show called Bang! 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 which had some American Gladiators elements in the show. 3 other countries were also set to adapt their version of Gladiators. France's version called Gladiator was cancelled in production in 1993. Spain's version called Gladiadors was cancelled in production in 1994. And Poland's version called Gladiator Geo was cancelled in pre-production in 1999. Reruns. USA Network was the first network to air reruns of American Gladiators. In 1992, USA began airing episodes daily in the late afternoon following its game show rerun lineup and preceding Cartoon Express, and later moved the episodes to air as part of its mid-morning lineup. The network initially had rights to the first 3 seasons and picked up rights to the 4th when it finished airing in 1993, but did not pick up any additional seasons beyond that. USA aired reruns through at least 1996. Spike purchased a rerun package they began airing during their last days as the national network in 2002. Originally airing weekday afternoons and late-night Saturdays, Spike eventually scaled back the reruns to the late Saturday airing and then dropped them in 2003. Spike was only given rights to seasons 2 through 4 in their entirety, special episodes from seasons 5 and 6, season 7 in its entirety, and both editions of International Gladiators in their entirety. In 2007 ESPN added the entire original series to ESPN Classics lineup. This meant that the non-specials from seasons 5 and 6 saw their first airing since their respective seasons, and the first season, including the episodes under the original format, would be seen for the first time since USA carried the series. ESPN Classic briefly pulled the original American Gladiators series from its lineup shortly after a revival premiered in 2008, but returned it after the revival concluded. ESPN permanently removed the show from ESPN Classic in 2009, and it has not been seen on television since. Animated series. According to a press release from MGM, an animated television series based on the American Gladiators franchise is in development. DVD release. On July 14, 2009 Shout! Factory release The Battle Begins, featuring commentary from The Laser, Zap, and Nitro, and an interview with Billy Wirth. This DVD only has the last 14 episodes of Season 1. Soundtrack. In 1993, American Gladiators, the music was released by DCC Compact Classics Sunstone Music, featuring songs used on the show, Dan Milner's music for the games and the opening and closing themes by Bill Conti. Dinner show. The American Gladiators performed in a dinner show in Orlando, Florida. This dinner show featured Dallas, Hawk, Ice, Jazz, Nitro, Sabre, Siren, Sky, Tower, Turbo, and Malibu from the TV shows and New Gladiators Apache, Cobra, Flame, Flash, Jade, Quake, Rage, Raven, Tank, Thor, Tigra, Titan, Viper. The events included the War, Breakthrough and Conquer, Assault, Whiplash, The Eliminator and others. Spin-offs. The show spawned a whole slew of competition spin-off shows, such as Beach Clash, Blade Warriors, and Sandblast. Statistics. Champions. List of gladiators. See also, Gladiators, American Gladiators, the 2008 revival, American Gladiators for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Gladiators 2000, a spin-off of AG for Children, Nickelodeon Guts, a children's athletic competition program, My Family's Got Guts, the 2008 revival of Guts, Je sans frontières. References. External links, American Gladiators at the Internet Movie Database, American Gladiators at TV.com, American Gladiators, American Gladiators.